Coming up on Baseball Tonight, the Braves' road to the World Series begins at home, on the same field they won it all last year.
Grissom on the run! Yes! 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 The Atlanta Braves have given you a championship!
They continue their title defense against the Cardinals. While the American League road one day later begins in New York, a road the Yankees and Orioles are very familiar with.
There it is, Alomar can't get it! The Yankees win!
But the Orioles get a chance at redemption. Hello, everybody. Welcome, class. Tonight we're going to go over Rule 316. With the help of Peter Gammons, Mark Schwartz, and Dave Campbell, and Gary Miller, we're going to review Game 1 of both League Championship Series. Harold Reynolds is here. He'll also help explain. I'm Carl Ravitch. Yankee Stadium was as wild as everyone thought it would be. As it turns out, the O's worst fears were realized at Yankee Stadium. So much had been made about the impact the fans would have on the game, and in particular the Orioles. The mayor of New York City implored the Yankee faithful to do nothing more than boo. Extra police were brought in to make sure nobody threw anything on the field. But the police weren't told to make sure no one took anything off the field. That is your background. There is the mayor with his son. There's Robbie Alomar. They did boo him. They also applauded him when he watched that. Was that a strike?
Well, this ball's obviously outside, but Robbie knows he's going to have to be hacking this series.
Bottom of the first, Rock Raines leads it off. Fly ball to left. Remember, this game started around 4. B.J. Surhoff, he either lost it in the puffy white clouds or the lights. In any event, Raines would score in a ground out after that play. 1-0 New York after 1. The O's respond with 2 on in the second. Eddie Murray.
Hey, just trying to get a ground ball RBI. Mr. RBI himself picks it up and ties the ball game 1-1.
Palmeiro scores. The grass was very slow. It did slow the balls down. And Paul O'Neill, the second. Alomar can't control it. Uncharacteristic of the O's. Jimmy Larish now. Man on first and third. There's 1 down. And to Todd Zeile goes.
Okay, the ball eats him up here and ends up getting the out. They had 4 miscues in this inning. It hurt them badly, Carl.
It did. 2-1 Yanks. But power surge from Brady in the third. He takes Pettit's first pitch to right. Third homer of the postseason. 2-2 after 3. Andy Pettit had only given up 1 home run to a lefty all season. Doink. 2 in the game as Palmeiro goes yard. It is 3-2 Orioles. Andy Pettit would be back. His foot would be a little painful, but he's okay. O's in the 6th. Runner on third, runner on second. Eddie Murray on first. B.J. Surhoff. There was some question as to whether he would play in this game at all. This is enough to bring in Palmeiro again. It's 4-2 Orioles. In the 6th, the O's defense comes around. Nobody out.
At this point.
And right here, look at the play Roberto Alomar makes. He gets a great jump. He knows Cecil Fielder's running. Tremendous play. Like you said, Carl, the grass was wet, slowing balls down. He knew he'd get to that.
Yanks respond, bottom 7. Bernie Williams goes to right. Bonilla goes back. He goes up. And right field played such a huge role in this game. The ball hit the heel of his glove. He couldn't hang on. He's not happy. After an intentional walk to Cecil, loads him up. Armando Benitez in to face Darryl Strawberry with 2 down. The one thing he can't do is walk him, and he did. It's 4-3 O's. Benitez not happy about that, but they're still loaded from Mariano Duncan, and he gets some fishing. The O's out of it, up 4-3. Davey pulls Bonilla out of right and puts in Tony Tarasco. In the 8th, Jeter goes to right. Tarasco goes back, and he is under it, and it disappears. Where'd the ball go? Tarasco says a fan interfered. Rich Garcia, the umpire, says it's a home run.
This play totally changed. It's going to change the whole series. We'll see this forever. The ball is obviously coming down. Tarasco doesn't even jump. The fan reached over and interfered with the game. Richie missed the call.
The O's try to come back in the ninth. 4-4, one down. Brady Anderson to shallow left and a miscommunication. No communication. Anderson goes to second as Raines and Jeter can't make up their minds who's going to catch it. 2 down. Alomar strikes out against Wetland. We go to extra innings. In the 10th, Mariano Duncan to right. And again, Tarasco has to deal with the fans. The ball deflected. No call here. Andy Etchebarren in. To no avail was his argument. And then this.
That'll be a 1-1 to Bernie Williams. Myers deals.
Hung on and driven a deep left. It'll hurt. No score. Oh, God. Yankees win. Oh, Yankees win.
Yankees get a big break in this game. Final scores, the Yankees go on and win. Jeter's home run ties it. And then Bernie Williams, no fan interference on his. 5-4, the Yanks over the O's. Davey Johnson did put this game under protest, but the protest wasn't over that particular play. Instead, over what he felt was a lack of security in the outfield to prevent fans from interfering at all. Jeter is hitting .500 in the postseason, 11 for 22. Alomar 1 for 6, 3 Ks. He made the final out in 5 innings. The 1st, 3rd, 5th, 9th, and 11th. Yanks also blew chances. They stranded 9 runners from the 5th through the 8th, 13 in all. After the game, take a guess what everybody was talking about.
The ball wasn't a blast. You understand what I'm saying? The ball was a high fly ball. I had time to run to the wall, to turn around, and to camp. So the ball was coming right straight down. So, you know, once again, if that ball was going to go out the park, I would have jumped. I would have timed it. I would have climbed the wall. I would have did everything in my power to try and catch that ball if it was going out the park. This is the American League Championship, and I'm going to do everything I can. And that ball was, I want to say, a routine fly ball.
I don't think he could have caught that ball. Ball was out of the park, and I called it a home run.
All I know is that in watching my right fielder, he was under the ball and just on his tiptoes to catch it. If it was going to hit the top of the wall, he'd have jumped. And I can tell that from the dugout.
That didn't win the game. Bernie won the game. And, you know, if they call it a double, Tim Raines got to hit the next pitch. So, I mean, that didn't win the game.
I thought it was the wrong call when it happened. I mean, it was obvious that the fan reached over, you know, and took the ball away from Tony.
Only I can get in trouble in right field.
Okay, Mike.
It's unbelievable.
Mike.
How can I get in an argument in right field?
Right field is a dicey place. Here's the rule as it reads, quote, should a spectator reach out on the playing field side of such fence, railing, or rope and plainly prevent the fielder from catching the ball, then the batsman should be called out for the spectator's interference. Well, Peter Gammons now joins us from New York. And Peter, we just saw the rule. We heard from Tony Tarasco. To his credit, he says that Jeter home run really didn't decide the outcome of this game. But you know what the fans in Baltimore are going to think, that this is revenge for Roberto Alomar.
And I know what it was like in the Orioles clubhouse after the game. There's a great deal of anger about the umpiring in this situation. Look, I don't think Richie Garcia was thinking about Roberto Alomar. I think he just missed the call. He's a great umpire, been one of the best umpires for 20 years. That said, there's a real problem here. Larry Barnett, third batter of the game is Roberto Alomar, pitches 6 to 8 inches outside. He not only calls it a strike 3, but then he does a little dance to incite the fans. And listen, enough is enough. This thing should be closed. The umpire should shut up. And don't you think, Harold, we should just go on the rest of the postseason?
Oh, no doubt about it. It's time to just go ahead and play ball. You know, back to the play, the only thing that really upsets me is we're glorifying a fan who reached over and interfered in the game. Anytime there's interference, they get thrown out of the ballpark. We're making a spectacle of this whole thing. We need to get back to playing baseball.
Yeah, Harold, you're exactly right. He should not be glorified because I'll tell you what, though, anybody, any kid 9, 10, 12 years old in that situation will do the same thing. But he is not a hero. Back to Peter in the game. Peter, Andy Pettitte, 124 pitches, so reminiscent of his appearance against the Rangers. And again, the Yankees come from behind. Pettitte gets the job done, and they win. You agree?
Absolutely. The hallmark of this Yankee team is right inside their stomachs. And I mean, Andy Pettitte, to me, gave one of the classic October 4s. This is a guy that's basically out of gas. He's pitched 50 more innings he's ever pitched in his life. And then we saw that he did not have really anything close to his normal command early in the game. I mean, we saw the 2 pitches when he walked Palmeiro. really inordinately out of the strike zone. Then he hung the breaking ball to Brady Anderson, and Brady deposited it out in the bleachers in right field. Then when he was trying to pitch to Palmeiro, he tried to get a first pitch fastball in on him. The ball didn't run. Down 4 runs right away, but he stayed in the game and gave them 7 innings. He gutted it out, and the great thing is that when he was out of that game, the game was tied, and it meant bullpen against bullpen. And as we've seen all during the postseason, the Yankees, when they get to their bullpen, win.
Hi, Peter. Again, thanks very much. And Harold, the point there, too, the bullpen, Game 2 of that Rangers series, Joe Torre played it like, hey, this is a must-win situation. You look at what he did with his bullpen tonight. He did the same thing. Must-win situation. A lot of innings for these guys.
A lot of innings, but the thing that was impressive about Joe Torre, he was not afraid to go with those guys. Rivera threw 2 innings. Wetland got in an inning. If the Orioles had won this game, I think the pendulum would have swung. It would have been an advantage to the Orioles. But now you get a chance to rest those guys. They've already got 1 win and assured to come back to New York. So I think definitely the Yankees have an advantage again.
I think so, too. Back to Peter quickly, too. Peter, again, I keep bringing up this Rangers game, and especially Game 2. Rangers defense failed them. Dean Palmer, remember, Kenny Hill failed them. In this game, the Orioles defense failed them, and they had the best fielding infield in all of the American League.
Well, absolutely. I mean, how many times in one inning you see Roberto Alomar make an error, and then, incredibly, on an easy double play, Cal Ripken throw the ball wide at first, and that gave the Yankees one of their odd runs. That said, we also saw a great play by Roberto Alomar up the middle on Cecil Fielder, a terrific play by Ripken on a short hop. But in a series like this, every run counts.
Yeah, and we have certainly seen that. Peter, thanks very much. Well, of course, the big play in this game, Derek Jeter's home run in the 8th inning. The big player in the game, the big player so far in both series for the Yankees has been Bernie Williams. After the game, Mark Schwartz caught up with the man who was quickly becoming the Michael Jordan of New York.
Well, he was the Yankees' hitting star in the first round with 3 home runs against the Texas Rangers, including a couple in the final game. But what about tonight? I mean, this game could have gone all night unless you ended it.
Well, I don't think so. Sooner or later, somebody had to do it. I certainly take it, and it was just a great, very emotional win for us.
Tell me about Randy Myers. I mean, one of the top left-handed closers in the league. What kind of history do you have against him, and what did he do in that particular at-bat against you?
Well, I'm having a pretty tough luck against him the first couple of at-bats. I think he struck me out the first time, and then I think here I was able to hit a base hit on a changeup. But tonight, I think he was coming. He was trying to go away, maybe low and away, and I'm pretty sure it was a 1-1 slider that he left up in the zone a little bit. With the situation and the good hitters that we have in this ball club opening up the inning, I was just trying to maybe get a good pitch to put it in play hard and get on base and maybe get a walk.
Give me your reaction to the controversial play out in right field. Did you get a view of it, and what do you think of a kid having an impact on the outcome?
Well, I don't know. I didn't see it that well. I just saw the umpire saying it's a home run, and I was just celebrating with the rest of the crowd.
All right, Bernie Williams, the hero. Now back to you.
Hi, Mark. Thanks very much. And as good as Bernie and Derek Jeter have been offensively, the Yankees bullpen comes through once again. 4 scoreless innings Tuesday night. 4th straight game, the Yanks pen gets the win. They have allowed 1 earned run over the last 23 and a 3rd inning, blowing away the rest of the playoff teams. When we come back, speaking of the playoff teams, La Russa calls on the Wizard to provide some Aussie-like plays. He did, but it just wasn't enough.
Aluminum. Most new car radiators are made of.
Baseball Tonight is being brought to you by Hager. Stuff you can wear.
Very few teams gave John Smoltz trouble this season with his 24 wins and ERA of 2.94. But then there was that game on June 24th. Smoltz had won 14 in a row. 8 earned runs later, the streak was over, and Smoltz was dealing with his worst outing of the season. At Fulton County, thousands of empty seats. Brian Jordan, he was the Division Series hero. He continues his torrid hitting over the head of Grissom. It's a triple. There's nobody out, and Smoltz, 5-9 lifetime against the Cardinals in an early hole. Gaetti at the plate. Day off helped his heel. Smoltz goes wild. Jordan scores. 1-0 Cards. But then Smoltz put up the stop sign.
Well, you know he's going to settle down. He had it all working tonight. Here's the fastball blowing Gaetti away. Watch him drop the split on Mabry. And then he comes back and he gets Pagnozzi on a, just paints the outside. He got it working. He has 6 strikeouts tonight.
Bottom 2. Ozzie Smith gets the start at short over Clayton. Dives to his left. How in the world does he come up with it?
Well, Ozzie used a 6-finger glove. Look at the ball right there, still. Now watch him lay out, but he's got that 6-finger glove and allows him to stretch a little bit longer, and those balls stick in his glove.
And he says, Ozzie, thank you. Then it's on. He gets Blausel swinging. He gets Smoltz looking. He gets Grissom staring. Bottom of the 5th, it's 1-0 Cards. Cox and the Braves. Can they come back? After a Blausel single and a failed sacrifice. Grissom goes into the hole. Ozzie can't come up with it. Blausel to third. Grissom to second. The next batter is Delemmer.
Always coming through in the playoffs. I was talking to him earlier. He says, hey, nobody expects me to hit. He gets a lot of pitches to hit, and he knows what to do with them. There's another big key hit by Lemke.
2-1 Braves. Cards come back in the top of the 7th. The hit and run. It works beautifully.
They have to manufacture. Right here, they put the hit and run on. Mejia going to third on the nice hit by Mabry.
Then Pagnozzi. He goes to right. Did he get enough? He did. It drops. Mejia scores. We're tied at 2. 2 on, nobody out. Key situation, and they don't bunt.
Well, it surprised everybody. Alisea didn't bunt, and then Willie McGee pops up, and they end up getting out of the inning here with the ground ball to Ozzie Smith. First and second, no outs. They get out of the inning.
Tony La Russa said the reason he didn't bunt was because they were playing for the sacrifice with Alisea. They let him swing away. Then Chipper Jones does bunt. Petkaisik falls. He throws to first, but Luis Alisea is late getting there. How come?
Well, watch the first baseman. He goes in between. He hesitates. Now Alisea doesn't know what to do, so he starts to back up, and then he has to cover. That's why he had the bad angle.
The Cards walk the bases loaded. They bring in T.J. Matthews. He saws one off. Goes Javi Lopez. That was an 0-2 pitch. This guy's a 120 hitter with the bases loaded. It's 4-2. It's over because Wohlers comes in, and when Wohlers comes in, he has ended all the games. The unassisted put out by the Crime Dog. 4-2. Atlanta, they draw first blood. Smoltz improves to 7-1 lifetime in the postseason. 4 games now. All wins in the postseason, all ended by Mark Wohlers. The top 4, the Cardinals order. 1 hit in 16 at-bats. Ouch. And that 1 hit delivered by Brian Jordan. Chipper Jones, 4 hits. He was the only player with more than 1. But among the key hits, the one off the bat of Mark Lemke. After the game, he spoke with Gary Miller.
Tonight was big because Johnny was pitching well, and he needed some support out there, so it was big to get that hit in that situation.
Spend the rest of the night thinking about the game. The way the 2 runs were scored in the 8th is going to grate at you, gripe you. We had a lot of chances. We had 8.5 innings without other opportunities.
We're always scratching and clawing, really, and we do a lot more of that than people think. We have hit a lot of home runs, but most of our games are pretty darn close. We've got a real good lineup. We can do a lot of things with the lineup other than just hit home runs.
Well, Bobby Cox alluded to it. The Braves had beaten the Dodgers with the simple recipe. Pitching, home run hitting. Not so in this one, although the outcome was the same. The Braves 9 hits in this game, 6 fewer than they had in the 3-game series with L.A. After the game, Gary Miller talked with John Smoltz, who exorcised those Cardinal demons.
All right, thank you. And John Smoltz, just as he did in the divisional playoff, is the Game 1 selection. And John, airtight game. Bettis was matching you pitch for pitch. But I guess you love having this role, and you said going into the game, Gant and Jordan are guys that you want to keep off base. You're going to key on them, and that was big for you tonight.
Exactly. I tipped my hand to Andy because he went right after us, pitched a great game. I don't know. I think he might take back that tag up from second to third, but I've said all along that Jordan is a great mistake hitter. He does not miss a mistake, and it showed when I hung that slider. And I'm looking for my slider. I hope to find it here before the year's over, but I've just mixed up pitches well, and it kept 2 nemesis off base for me. Smith and Langford really have given me some fits, and it made it easier to pitch to Ronnie Gant and then Jordan.
Your battery mate does seem to come up big in situations like this.
He has. I think he's been one of our unsung clutch hitters in the postseason. He did it in L.A., and he's really improved so much for me defensively. I know a couple got under the wickets today, but he has so much more confidence to tell me to come out after one gets by to throw it right back in the dirt. And, in the postseason, that's what it's about, coming down to execution.
Yeah, and against great pitching like this, Javi Lopez, a career 120 hitter with the bases loaded, comes through with the biggest hit of all. And John Smoltz is now the winningest pitcher in NLCS history. Let's go back to the studio.
Hi, Gary. Thank you very much. Also the leader in strikeouts in LCS history. Though, Harold, John Smoltz admitted he didn't have every one of his pitches. How, then, was he able to do what he did?
Well, he's a tremendous guy making adjustments. He made adjustments the whole night long. Let's look at a couple things that he did in the lineup. Right here, he's facing Mabry. He didn't have the sliders, got him 1-2. He's going to go with his out pitch now. It's going to be the split. We saw this earlier. Now watch what he does. He gets The fastball impact, now as he punts it on the outside. But here's the big adjustment he made. Jordan tripled the first time up, but watch him drop down with the fastball. He fouls it off. What's he do? He goes back, drops down again, but he snaps off a slider. Just leaves him frozen. When a pitcher is making those kind of adjustments on you, and he's already throwing 90 miles an hour, what a tough combination. He showed tonight why he's going to be the Cy Young winner.
And it gets no easier because the other Cy Young winner, Greg Maddux, goes in Game 2. Let's now bring in Dave Campbell in Atlanta. Dave, Javi Lopez. I mean, Charlie O'Brien goes, and Javi Lopez, there was some question about how he can deal with the staff. Well, he's dealing just fine, not to mention some of the facts that he's come up with some great hits.
Carl, I mean, you looked at Chipper Jones and Fred McGriff and Ryan Klesko to provide the power, but in the last 2 postseasons, Javi Lopez has had 4 huge hits, including 3 home runs. Tonight he gets sawed off, but he hit a terrific pitch, and he's been a big man in that offense of the Braves, especially the last 2 years.
Absolutely. And Dave, the Cardinal defense, Tony La Russa looks like a genius early on, but then all of a sudden things went south on him, didn't they?
Yeah, they made 6 terrific plays tonight. I mean, beginning with Ozzie Smith. Take a look at the play he makes against Jermaine Dye in the 2nd inning. That was after Bennis and Alisei had made good plays. Gary Gaetti goes to the backhand side here, makes a throw, it gets past John Mabry, but Luis Alisei makes a terrific play backing up to keep Chipper Jones from going to second base and getting in scoring position. That's big again because the ball base hit to right field. Brian Jordan comes in and fields it, takes it away from Langford. That keeps Chipper Jones from showing. But it all comes unraveled with one bad play. Alisei failing to cover first for whatever reason. And the Braves are a championship team. You have to play almost a flawless game against them. They make one mistake and they get buried. So, I mean, the Cardinals played a near-perfect game, but it still wasn't enough tonight.
No, it wasn't. Dave, thanks very much live in Atlanta. When we come back, he has been Otto Maddux against the Cardinals the last 2 seasons. A sneak peek at Game 2 and what Greg Maddux has done against St. Louis when we come back. Back on baseball tonight, sneak peek ahead to the starters in Game 2. First, the NL. Maddux has dominated the Cards 5-0 over the last 2 years. Stottlemyre has been dominated. Overall, postseason ERA for both, not great. Stottlemyre over 6, Maddux 4.15. Game 2 starters AL, Wells and Cohen, and the key for both of them, how many innings they can last. Both bullpens working hard Wednesday. Cohen and Wells averaged 6 2/3 per outing. Wells has been outstanding at Yankee Stadium, 9-1, a 3.84 ERA. When we come back, we know Ken Caminetti has a golden gun. He's also got a gold glove. The rest of the best at their positions after this. Yanks in New York, zip, Donnie baseball to right. And a fan reaches over and prevents Mark McLemore from catching it. And Harold, you were the second baseman on that play.
It's a hopeless situation. There's nothing you can do. You go out there and argue till they throw you out. Let them know how you feel, but great effort. But if I was a fan, what are you going to do?
Tell you, if I'm 12 years old and I brought my glove to the baseball game and the ball comes my way, I'm going to reach out and touch it. But he shouldn't be glorified. He shouldn't be vilified either. For Harold Reynolds, I'm Carl Ravitch. Thanks for watching Baseball Tonight.